Hi guys. So this one is, I guess, kind of slightly different, right? So over the last couple of weeks, I've predominantly put out streams for our subscribers, and I just wanted to highlight, right? If you're looking to make money in this environment, right? I guess, as Mark Cuban said, everyone's a genius in a bull market, right? Now, I'm going to cover a few things in terms of how you can, really ramp up in terms of the portfolio. And I guess overall, the answer is not going to be, always as you'd expect, right? And you just have to deal with this, right? What we're trying to show in terms of our kind of methods and our kind of system and the approach to this kind of market is how to be consistent, right? And it's the consistency that will actually get you, kind of results. So, we've always talked about things like if you want to become a doctor, you've got to spend years in university to become successful and then kind of build up your career from there, right? Now, in other sectors, the same, if you want to be a lawyer or an accountant, it's the same thing, right? You're not going to kind of watch a YouTube video and become a successful lawyer overnight, right? It's passing the bar, it's having that kind of experience, it's, kind of putting your kind of mind to the grind really before actually kind of succeeding. Now, a lot of people will make false claims, right? Now, there's a lot of things, especially around crypto, it's unregulated, et cetera, right? So, please just don't fall into the trap of following these influencers, right? Who, kind of rent these cars and take short trips on private jets just to impress with a view of getting you money based on affiliate links, right? These guys don't make money trading, right? And this is part of the reason why we wanted to emphasize this, right? So obviously, learning from the start, I'm going to show you a couple of things, right? So first things first, if you don't know who I am, right, or you don't follow me, right, and if you're a subscriber, you definitely don't need to watch this video, right? There's an element of you guys know all of this and some. So if ultimately you're new to the channel, you're new to myself, you haven't seen any of Paul's videos, then just stick around, right? Give us a couple of minutes and I'll explain as to why, why this is useful for you in terms of making some real money and increasing your portfolio size. Okay. So, first things first, right? I want to look at what we've done, and this is again all of these posts, all of these tweets, these are all immutable, right? This basically means that we can't edit, we can't change, we can't amend what we've actually said when we've said it, right? So, first things first, right? This is, May 20. The reason that I couldn't personally post before May 20 is that I was kind of managing money and kind of not really allowed to put kind of public opinions out based on what I was managing. Okay. So after that, kind of had a bit of freedom, a bit of free will, and the ability to kind of post these things. Right now, this isn't just a, hey, look at me, I've called the bottom, I've called the top. You know, I've gone into depth as to explaining why these are bottom tops, why these are kind of moves. Right now, if you're new, obviously to to trading in general, you might not understand some of this terminology, which is part of the reason we've got a free Skillshare course. Part of the reason that we want to get you kind of up to speed, so that this becomes almost common knowledge. Okay, so first things first, right? Look, you can come into this particular post, and I'll put a link now up into the description or up into the top corner as they do on these YouTube channels. And in essence, you can kind of see, look, right from from down low. This is May the 13th, 2020. You can see the price, right? Why I was taking this long. There's a lot of logic as to let's go. Okay. Now, like I said, this isn't bottom calling and then looking for the tops. This is actually explaining in depth as to why. Right now, as you can see, middle of the pack, why we were talking about the Bitcoin reaccumulation. I've talked about this, right? It's obviously playing at this particular point, and you can kind of see a transition, right? So I've gone again into depth. You can scroll down into each of these individual posts. There's a lot of a lot of lessons to be had, kind of inside of this, right? And giving you a lot of depth as to why we were in this kind of reaccumulation zone, right? Then again from the top, back down to the bottom, you know, back again from the reaccumulation, and then ultimately, from this particular level, and this is actually one I kind of find, very funny. This is the 5th of November, and I'm basically ripping the piss out of this guy Plan B, right? This guy with millions of followers and hasn't got a clue, right? Also shilling Bybit links etc., etc. Right. So clearly not making any money trading, right? And again, I'll explain this in a second, right? So anyway, this for me is just to kind of emphasize, look, this is who I am. This is who we are, myself and Paul at Mayfair. And ultimately, Paul's been trading 30 something years. I've been at this 22 years. You don't stay in this game, by not being any good at it, right? So, in essence, look, these are all the calls. You can come all the way through, right? Even this one here, right? This one is probably what a lot of you guys, if you do follow me, know me for. When everyone was calling bullish, I said, well, hang on, guys, look, here's an obvious reason as to why we're not. And this was March the 18th, I think this was 2021. And in essence, we come from the high. We make the A, we go slightly higher on the B, we come down for a deeper, well, a higher C, followed by the D. E is actually, executed to perfection. That extension was there. We hit that kind of 28K range and up and off we go, right? So this isn't kind of guesswork. This isn't from, March all the way through to, what we talk in August time. Um, with kind of just guesswork. This was why we go down, why we go up, why we come down, why we go up, why we fall down all the way, the hyperextension, and then ultimately why we're likely to kind of rally from there, right? So, guys, this is the type of thing, right, that we're able to show, to teach, to emphasize. Another one here, this was on the way back up, right? So this is from the 28K down. This was actually on the 24th of August. You can see the date there, obviously top left. So what I've actually said in this particular chart, and just take note of the chart, basically what we're saying is that we're currently in the 3 to 4, so I want a 3 to drop down for a 4. It also means that the monthly 3 is not in. All of the buyers at 65K, so imagine buying at 65K, listening to your plan Bs and your MMC cryptos and your bloody moon carls and all of these idiot clowns that are only shilling you buy bit links, right? Imagine listening to these guys and buying at 65K. I could see from a mile away, this is in August, right? See from a mile away why we would actually go from 65K. We probably ponder a little bit further past that in terms of collecting liquidity, and then we very likely to see 40K again very, very quick. Okay. So anyway, that's basically it, right? So just think of that 65K, why we would see 40K again very quick. And I'm going to show you this now over on the charts, right? So in essence, what I was saying is we're going to rally on up from here, back down 3, 4, up to the 65K. We start making this ascending move up, right? I'll put 65K on just to give you an idea. Okay, so 65K, near enough there. We basically go just above it and we fall down. And what do we see very quick? 40K, where's the 40K mark? Oh, what do we have around the 40K mark? The redistribution move, right? So, ultimately, guys, these levels are not random. These guys, these moves are not difficult to predict. They're very simplistic in terms of why these things happen, how they happen. And this is the type of thing that we want to teach you guys, right? So again, if you're new to this, you're new to the terminology, you're new to even our style, then again, I'll put a link to the free Skillshare video up in the top corner as well now, right? So there's obviously first things first, the Skillshare video definitely worth you looking at in terms of getting an understanding and appreciation of some of these things. It's completely free. We're not trying to show you anything, right? So in the grand scheme of things, that's the first thing. The second thing is why we've put a lot of emphasis on these kind of influencers, right? Is that people come to us on how do I make money? Now, the biggest way of making money in kind of crypto, in trading, forex, whatever kind of instrument you choose, is initially not losing money, right? And that could be due to bad broker decisions. That could be picking a broker that charges very high fees or massive spreads per transaction. You might have a broker or an exchange that you've gone to and you struggle to get your money out, right? Now, everyone have seen when the price rallies or the price drops kind of massively in Bitcoin, you get companies like Binance, for example, where they halt or they freeze the ability to take money out. Now, that's the kind of thing you don't want in terms. And I'm not saying don't trade with Binance. Of course, they're a reputable company, but it's these kind of problems that people, I suppose, kind of keep happening, right? And people kind of keep seeing. if I'd put money into, I don't know, HSBC, and they said, oh, you've got this money sitting here, but you're not allowed to take it out today. It's my money. I want to take that out today. And therefore, when the banks start doing that, people get kind of wary. When the crypto exchanges do it, it's like, yeah, common practice, right? Now, understanding, all of these things, right, is very, very important in terms of, progressing your portfolio, right? Whether you start with $100 or $1,000 or $100,000, right? The point being is that everyone's kind of in the same boat. If you're new to this, there's a lot of scam artists out there. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to take, whether it's exchanges kind of playing, silly games, or whether it's the affiliates of these exchanges, you know, kind of getting you on the wrong side of the trade every time, right? So to give you an idea, right, you've only got to look at something like this. I'm going to put this onto the daily time frame, right? So when we look at what we've done, why we've done, why I was saying, hey, for me this is the reaccumulation, why this was the distribution clearly hidden in this little area here, why this target area was back down, in terms of my potential extension target for the 28, why I could say at this point that this was going to be our high before actually having the drop followed by the rise, right? Why I was saying, this trend line break was going to be key, and then ultimately extending down into a massive accumulation range, right? All of these kinds of things, it's common sense in essence, right? However, it's understanding why these events occur, okay? So back to then why, why this is different. You can't follow some kind of influencer, right? Who does something like this on a chart and says, oh, if the price breaks, if the price breaks this, you know, we're gonna fall through and we're gonna go down and off we go, right? Because what they tend to do is the price does something like this, right? And then it shoots up, right? Now all of a sudden what you find is they start drawing these new lines, right? Or they delete their old tweet and come back and tell, oh, now it's broken this line, oh look, I was right. The reality is, guys, trading is not, nowhere near as simple as that, right? There's a lot more to it. It's understanding these key areas, these key lines, right? And this is basically where you're gonna, excel really in terms of, like I said, enhancing that portfolio, right? You want to grow your portfolio, you want to make money. That's the whole objective of kind of crypto trading. Unfortunately, as I keep going back to, these scam artists, right, are here to fool you, right? So there's a couple of things. I'm going to show you this before coming into, where we are in the current price of Bitcoin, right? First things first, right? I posted this a little while back. There's a few things you've got, from by BitBoy crypto, for example, right? Oh, we'll never see 47K again Bitcoin. Where are we at currently, right? Does he mean we never see it to the upside? Or is he saying that, ultimately it's what it is? But clearly, no, it's the other way around, right? It'll never go below 47K again. A couple of days later, oh, wow, we're below 47K. Yes, we rally back up and hey, we're below 47K. We rally back up, oh, we're below 47K and we haven't been back to 47K since, right? We've had nearly a year, if not more now, under 47K, right? We got people like Plan B, 98K November, right? Look at the November levels, right? We were at the 60K level, 14th of November, right? 90K November, worst case scenario, 135K, predicting still in play for the December. 135K isn't even on the chart, guys. That's up here somewhere, right? That's up towards the tabs at the top of my charts, right? You've got, Carl saying, I'm bullish for 2022. Let's draw a line on 2022. This is the 3rd of Jan 2022. This is all the way through August, September, October, November. Let's get Christmas. We're going to 1st of January. Yep, very bullish for 2022. You know, how wrong can somebody be? Right? Now, the reality is, what you have to understand with these types of calls is that these guys don't make money trading, right? They're clearly using demo accounts, right? They're clearly shilling Bybit links mostly. There's a few other exchanges that they're using. But in essence, what they're doing is they're taking money, right? So in essence, what you do is you click their link, right? You tend to have this kind of one for one type of bonus. If you put in $1,000, the exchange itself will give you another pretend $1,000. And the reason I say it's pretend is that in essence, the only way you can withdraw that second $1,000 is by losing your first thousand, right? So in essence, it's kind of your money that they've kind of given you some more digits on the screen for you to go and lose, knowing full well you've come through one of these clowns affiliate links. These guys are going to be giving you wrong information, on a daily basis. These guys are making 4 videos per day, right? Now, can you imagine, being someone like Carl, kind of highlighting the lifestyle, not being able to trade, himself, showing a luxury lifestyle, right? And it's no different. Let's go and rent a Lamborghini and kind of let's show people that I make this from trading. And all you're doing, right, is basically putting out 3, 4, 5 videos per day with a couple of thousand views per video, right? Of course, it's making $1,500, $2,000 per video, right? Over the course of the life of that video. Obviously, after making another 5 videos tomorrow, these get kind of shift to the back. But in essence, it's a good little money spinner, purely based on the videos. Now, back to obviously the affiliate links. What tends to happen is you stick in 1,000, right, or 10,000. It doesn't matter the number. It's match funded, right? That's kind of what they tend to kind of offer, or 40% bonus, a 60% bonus. It really depends on the broker. But in essence, you've now got this monopoly money. You've got this monopoly money. You're following the clowns. These clowns give, let's go leverage long on every opportunity. Imagine going leverage long all the way through 2022. Where would you have made any money in 2022? Zilch, right? You would have lost every penny on every call, right? And this is why these guys use these demo accounts, right? You know, oh, Bitcoin's off to the moon, and then we drop. You know, Ethereum was going to the moon, and this is the 13th of August, 2022 again, right? You know, he's got another point here. Is it over, guys? Right? And then we rally, right? So you can clearly see every opportunity is let's use leverage long with my affiliate link, and off we go, right? And this is where these guys make the money. Right? Now, I caught Carl cheating, right? I caught Carl last year. This was actually the year before. This is November. Um, obviously, twice is actually my video. So, in essence, when I looked at this, right, at the top right hand side of the video on the left, to start trading, transfer funds to your wallet, right? Which basically means this is a demo account, right? Now, basically, Carl come along and I saw this, and clearly it's, oh, I've got millions of dollars on my demo account trading. Look how successful I am, right? The reality is, it's a demo account, right? Now, obviously, working with the exchanges, you can do all sorts of things. You can actually have, white kind of I suppose whitewashed typed accounts that allow you to type in your own figures and this that and the other. It might not have gone as far as this for these guys. Demo account might be sufficient, but in essence, he's buying the bottom, right? I call him out for this demo trading account. Now, clearly, look at this particular dashboard, right? Look at this on the left hand side, right? And his response to me was his most important Bitcoin video on my channel, my BTC demo account, right? So keep in mind, this is kind of dark blue, etc., etc., right? And then he comes along and he says, oh, I don't use a demo account. Look at my account. Do they look anything similar? This has got a few orange little lines. It's got a different dashboard on the right, etc., etc., etc. What do we have over here? Completely different, right? So I'll use my demo and then I'll show a real account when I'm caught, right? This one over here is for millions of dollars. This one's for $20,000, right? So again, you follow these types of clowns, guys, right? You're going to get burnt over and over and over again. And what I'll do is I'll stick a link to this video again in the description or up above, top right of this video, right? So again, you can see time and time and time again. Now, what I want to show you then is, like I've gone through the calls on TradingView, we can't edit, we can't delete, we can't change, we can't amend in any which way, shape, or form. We're putting out these calls based on information like this. Right? This is the 11th of November 2022. Right? I put this out to the subscribers. I'm expecting the DXY, the dollar index, to come down to this kind of extension level of 100.70. Right? Let's click across over to our DXY position. Right? We come on down. This is a daily time frame. So from my November call, let's find the November call. So my November call in and around this region. And what do we come down to? Let's look at the lows here. That low on that candle was 100.82. Okay, so 100.82, this is 100.70. Right? It's fractions of a movement out. And what do? We hit this kind of region and we rally violently away from. Right? Now, this isn't magic. This isn't, a lucky guess. This is something that we can show, we can prove, and we can teach. Okay. So if you're really interested in, growing that portfolio, learning how to do this for a living, whether it's quitting your full, your 9 to 5 type job, or whether this is just for a little bit of extra kind of funds on the side, any which way, you have to avoid these influences. You have to learn to do this for yourself, right? And you have to learn to understand these key value areas, right? Now, I can go on and on and on, on every aspect of this, right? I can talk about this. This is XRP. This is in November. My arrow pointing down in again into the range. 30 to the 28. There's a little area kind of pocket sitting in there. Let's go across to XRP. Let's again look at the when did I say this was? This was the 10th of November. So where we going back. This is in November, 10th of November. Okay, roughly there, right? Now I say, what we're looking for is into the liquidity pocket, right? This is the liquidity pocket. And what do? Come into the liquidity pocket and again rally away, right? So just understanding where the money is sitting, how the money flows, where the money flows to, are all the kind of things that's going to help you just, snipe these entries, right? Again, I've talked about things like this, right? This is basically the schematic. This goes back as far as I think it was actually October, the 31st of October last year, in terms of why we are, where we are. I've talked about things like this particular move here. This is a traffic light pull, right? And why we've got these kind of areas of untapped liquidity, why I think we'd come back up from these kind of ranges. So what I'll do is I'll come back over to Bitcoin. I'm going to put this on the chart. I've actually got this image. I just saw this one. This image here, look. Right, let me zoom out. Let me get rid of some of these again, just to make the chart a bit cleaner. All right, so in this particular point, I'm going to bring this down. This was on the 13th of November. We were clearly below this red area, right? And why there's a second area there is this is the next round of untapped liquidity, right? So, ultimately, we've come below it, right? I've talked about this then, later on with the subscribers as to why we're going to come up. So the first key level was the 21.5, right? So let's get this out of the way. I'll just hide this a second. So the first key level was the 21.5, right? So let's put in 21.5, near enough, and this clearly first key level, right? Back and retested, this basically is what you regard as a small spring, and then ultimately up and off we go, right? So, like I said, guys, these levels, they're not, they're not guessed, they're not estimates. These are kind of identified with logic, kind of showing the logic as to why the price is likely to go there. This isn't just drawing a simple trend line and saying, oh, if we break this, kind of off to the moon we go. I mean, I've even joked with our own Discord, right? And this is quite comical, actually. If we put this on, it has to be weekly charts to make it really small. Otherwise, it's not, you can't even fit it on a screen. You're talking about Plan B on the 14th of November, right? Talks about 135k December still being in play, right? This is by the end of December, not even up high enough yet. Yeah, that's close enough, right? just look at this, right? We've had this kind of mega rally, clearly exhausted, and he's thinking, hey, we go this far further. On what basis? Where's the logic kind of backing that up, right? That's how silly these kinds of moves seem, right? So, anyway, I've kind of blabbled on enough now. I hope this makes a lot of sense to you in terms of what we teach, why we teach what we teach, why things like Carl and people like Plan B are important to kind of emphasize how pathetic and stupid they are in terms of their rallies and calls and everything's to the moon, to the moon, and to the moon, soy faced, thumbnails. In the grand scheme of things, guys, if you want to learn to trade, you got to learn properly. You got to understand why these value areas kind of do what they do, and that's the type of thing that we can show. Okay, so let me come back into a smaller time frame and just finish off in terms of where we are at the current position, right? So as I showed in my idea posts here, right, from November, right, this is obviously smart money, dumb trades. When you think about what we had a long, we had the reaccumulation, we then dropped, we basically accumulated at the bottom. We had the reaccumulation kind of on the way back up, and then we distributed again. We've had the first big major real distribution or redistribution at this particular point, which brings us into some form of an accumulation pattern, any which way, shape, or form, right? Inside of that, I've actually shared, like I said, with the subscribers, the traffic light pulls, right? So this is, again, back from November, me talking about this with the subscribers, and only now you guys are getting this. So in essence, what do? We rally up through first key point, like I said, the 21.5. We come back down, we go up to the very top, look, the top of that box completely utilized, back into the 50% market of the box below. That's the liquidity grab to push higher. We go all the way through, we kind of play around to the top of the box again, we break through to the 50% center of this particular box. We're very likely to tag potentially the top of the box before we come all the way back down again, right? So again, it's not really that difficult. It's not really a lot in terms of information there. But in essence, these are the kinds of things that you can clearly see from a mile away, right? A couple of key points and key levels there. So if you want to take a screenshot of that, be my guest. These are the levels that I'm talking about that we're very likely to revisit. Whether we get all the way down, as you see at the bottom, STB or spring, clearly a level. 18.5 is a nice key level for me. That's why it's in orange. I kind of like that region as a final kind of momentum, final push. It's going to depend on the character when we get down there. So I'm not saying for a second just buy in at 18.5. It's just more the fact that it's interesting to me. The accumulation option, that's obviously what we've covered. The GAN option here, again, kind of zoomed out, guys. This goes back all the way to October, November time last year. You can see exactly how these levels are being respected, right? We've come on down from one of the drops here, look, right? So this is one of the first moves. We've come back down to one of the solid ones. We've come all the way through. You can see the drop there on the trend line break. You can see it sat on this particular level here. Again, similar move to this one. These little white dotted lines, they're the smaller version. So the orange is basically the weekly, the little white and the blue is the daily. So currently, where I see we're at right now is we've come through and we sat on top of, right, or basically struggling to break through this particular daily GAN fan type resistance, right? Now, I'm not saying this is the secret because I don't often use GAN, but it is obviously useful to understand, where it sits, kind of why. It will help in terms of understanding where these key kind of intersections are going to be. But again, these are the types of things we've covered, months and months and months in advance. Okay. What else we cover? Plan B's tweet there. We've had MMC crypto. Again, guys, look, right. You know, Look at this, right? Could you call the top wrong any better? This is the break attempt, right? And to show that he doesn't mean a breakdown, let's click on to his chart there. What's he expecting? A break to 26 and a half. Oh, look, we've broke this little level. And what do? We just drop and drop and drop further, right? So imagine taking leverage positions, like I said, following these clouds, right? It's just not going to work. So I hope this has helped you. Like I said, all the links are up above, and I'll put them into the description below. Take the free Skillshare course if you haven't already, and come obviously join us on Discord. Again, link right now, top right, in terms of learning this a little bit deeper. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week. Cheers.